tangled in together into our identity. And what's more, I lost a huge piece of myself in the course of that marriage. That's why I was the one that decided that it was time for it to end. I didn't mention that to my little girl when she asked me either. I knew the conversation would come at some point in time. She's now almost 17. We're getting awfully close to that conversation. Self-care became something different for me in that moment. Plato says the unexamined life is not worth living. Well, lying there on the hunter green carpet, that was nothing more than an invitation to truly examine my life. If I was exhausted, I was trying to check all the boxes and live a life that wasn't even what I wanted, what was the point of it all? So that began a bit of a journey. Self-care was no longer a luxury that I didn't have the time or money for. It was a necessity. And to those who are in the room, who are entrepreneurs, who are thought leaders, who are loving other people, who are looking to see the best in them and create a change in the world, I want to tell you, self-care is a necessity for you, just as much as it is for anyone else, if not even more. But what is self-care really? I mean, it's all great to book a spa day and have a massage and a glass of wine and dark chocolate truffles while you're in the bath. That is all good. I am all for it. And it's not enough. Physical self-care is the start. Again, it's another invitation. Do you guys remember this, not the story, the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Does anybody remember that? And the dad and Windex. Okay, so there's a few of you that remember this here. Windex was his favorite solvent for pretty much anything that could go wrong. You had a rash, spray a little Windex on it, you'll be fine. Anything was solved with Windex. Well, there's a running joke in my family that is my mom and lavender oil. Lavender oil is good for everything. It is actually pretty useful, I will say that. But lavender oil is the start. Physical self-care is just the start. So I have a question for you guys. Do I have any gardeners or plant moms in the room? Anybody that can grow something?
I don't plant that.
I apologize. That was bad form on me. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I've been in the wedding industry for 20-some years. I started my first planting company when I was a junior in college. Along with that, I also have a floral design company. So people often assume that I must have a beautiful garden. I'm going to tell you guys the punchline on that one. Yeah, I can make all these really gorgeous tablescapes and these beautiful corsages and boutonnieres and bouquets, but those are two very, very different skill sets. However, I have a secret weapon. I have an app. There's always an app for that, right? This is my favorite app right now because it is my plant identifier app. I can take a picture of it. It tells me everything I need to know about the plant to ensure that I don't kill it. And that's pretty much the way it works. So the bottom line is that without this app, I would be dead in the water, or more appropriately, my plants would all be dead. But if we know that it's really important to know something about a plant in order to take care of it, why don't we necessarily transfer that over to knowing ourselves? Okay, so let's think about this idea of a plant. We need to know how much sunlight it needs. We need to know how much water it needs, how much fertilizer. If we can take a picture and identify the family of origin, we learn all sorts of interesting things about that. If we want our plant to be well-rounded, we have to pivot it at different points so that it's constantly rotating, getting more moisture, getting more exposure from the sun, having new experiences, and it becomes well-rounded. How many of us in the room would like to think of ourselves as well-rounded? And yet, how often do we put ourselves in a position to be experiencing new things, or to be open to something, a new way of thinking, to make sure that we're getting all of our water and our sun and our pH balance and all those other things? We take this time to take care of a plant, to know the ins and outs of a plant. How much time do we spend knowing ourselves and identifying our families of origin? What lights us up? What gets us up in the morning? What feeds our soul? And I can tell from being in this room, and honestly, you guys, I could tell on Facebook before I even walked in the room, this is something that feeds us all. This energy, this community, sharing this experience, this is part of the thing that makes us all tick. What else makes us tick? And when we think about what has shaped who we are now, I wonder if there might be some outdated information in our app. So, okay, a lot of us in the room, most of us, I would say, are not old enough necessarily that we can remember the little black book. My theory is that there is a little black book that's in our minds. And the way the little black book got written is the family of origin. It's the experiences that we had growing up. It's the things that we were told, either explicitly or implicitly, about how we were supposed to behave in some way, shape, or form. The gold stars that we wanted to aspire to and that we were going to earn all those gold stars, because if you do all the right things, if you're the good girl, if you're the good Christian wife, then you're going to have a successful marriage. Or maybe not. Is it possible that we are wanting to live a life according to this little black book of a guideline that isn't in date for us anymore? It's outdated. It's not in connection. It's not in alignment with who we are now, and more importantly, with who it is that we are becoming. So in this idea of knowing ourselves, you get a lot of that conversation about, well, self-care is just selfish. It's just, you're putting too much emphasis on yourself. You need to go take care of the kids. You need to volunteer more. You need to do all these external things to rack up all these gold stars and to get our approval as a community. Or maybe it's time to flip the page in that book and write a new list about what matters to us now. If this idea of Plato saying that an unexamined life isn't worth living, again, I think that's just scratching the surface. What does it mean to examine our lives? What does it mean when we get to look deeper into who we are now, how we've become that, and then also where it is that we are going and who we are becoming? What skills do I need to become that next iteration of myself? What things do I need to let go of that no longer serve me now, and I don't want to carry them into the future? And as we wrap up this year of 2019, what a magical, magical time. And I don't use that word very often, but what a magical time to think about these things now as we're getting ready to carry into 2020. What is it that we want to be? Who do we want to be? Who do we want to impact in 2020? And are we carrying things with us that no longer serve us? Goethe says that once you trust yourself, you know how to live. Once you know how to trust yourself, you will know how to live. How can we trust ourselves if we don't know ourselves? If we don't accept who we are and identify that maybe things didn't turn out quite like we thought it would. Maybe we got the gold stars and things just didn't work anyway. And that's okay. Maybe there's something better for us on the other side of that. Maybe there is a knowledge there, a learning and experience that we need to carry forward into the next iteration. To know how to live. What a lofty aspiration. You'll know how to live once you trust yourself. Between his words and Plato's, I think there's just a beautiful invitation for us to consider. Who are you now? How did you get to be that way? And who do you want to be? It's time to rip up some of those little black books, because some of it just doesn't matter anymore. It's about the pages that we want to write going forward. And I will tell you, self-care is no longer a luxury that you don't have the time or the money for. If you're here to make a difference, get it in your calendar now. Because we don't have time to waste.